Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at something pretty interesting at the intersection of AI and content.
Yeah, specifically Google's new tool, notebooklm. It's free, and it seems to have this ability to create audio like podcasts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we're basing this on a YouTube video transcript we found from Odetta Rockhead Kerr.
Yeah.
She demonstrates notebooklm, but also talks about how you might actually, make some money with it.
Which always gets people interested, right?
Definitely.
Mm.
So our mission today is to really unpack notebooklm. What is it? How does it do this podcast thing? What kind of material can you feed it?
And of course, those monetization ideas that were mentioned.
Right. This feels like it could be, well, a really useful tool if you're trying to quickly understand information or maybe even start creating your own stuff.
Absolutely. It's fascinating how AI is trying to simplify these processes. So maybe let's start with the basics. What exactly is notebooklm?
Okay, so the video calls it a groundbreaking AI tool from Google, which, standard tech description.
Fair enough.
Its main job seems to be helping organize research, process information, that kind of thing. But the new feature, the one we're focused on, is this audio generation. Podcasts, basically.
And the video really pushes this idea of simplicity, like one click and a few minutes to turn complex info into a podcast.
Yeah, that one-click claim is bold. Makes you wonder what the output is really like.
Mm-hmm. So how do you actually start using it if someone listening wants to try it out?
Apparently, it's pretty straightforward. You just search Google notebooklm, sign up with a Gmail account.
And it's free.
Free to use, yeah, which is a big plus for accessibility.
Okay, good to know. So once you're in.
First step is new notebook. Simple enough.
Right. And then you add your source material. And this is where it gets interesting because it handles different types, doesn't it?
It does. The video showed several. First up was Google Docs.
Okay, makes sense. A lot of people use Google Docs.
Yeah, you just pull a doc straight from your Google Drive. The example they used was part of Odetta Rockhead Kerr's own book, something called Tips to Loving Yourself Unconditionally.
Oh, interesting. So you feed it a text document.
Exactly. Select Google Docs in notebooklm. It links to your drive. You pick the file.
And then the magic button.
Pretty much.
Ah.
There's a generate option, and you choose a setting like deep dive conversation to host with English only. And it supposedly creates the podcast audio.
A deep dive conversation. Wonder how deep it actually goes from just text.
Well, they played a snippet. It was discussing self-love, forgiveness, the themes from the book section. It sounded, well, surprisingly like a conversation.
Like two AI voices chatting about it.
Kind of, yeah. It seemed quite conversational, actually.
Okay, interesting. Quick way to get an audio summary, maybe. What other sources did they show?
Google Slides was next. And they mentioned you could convert PowerPoints first, then use them.
Ah, okay. So it can handle presentation formats, too.
Seems so. The example was an older presentation, Inspire to Aspire. Same process. Upload to Drive, open as slides in notebooklm, click Generate.
So it's pulling info from slides, maybe bullet points and titles,
Yeah.
and turning that into a conversation.
Looks like it. The example audio touched on generational stuff in the workplace, millennials specifically.
Yeah. Taking visual cues and making them auditory, that's clever.
Okay, but this next one, this is maybe the most intriguing for many people. Website links.
Website links, like any web page.
Well, they specifically highlighted YouTube videos.
Whoa, okay, so you could turn a YouTube video into a podcast summary.
That seems to be the idea. The video presenter sounded pretty excited about it. They tried it with a video called Quit Your Job in 90 Days. The type.
Yeah, the freedom and financial independence pitch.
Exactly. And they just copied the YouTube link, pasted it into notebooklm, hit Generate.
And it worked.
Apparently. The audio snippet discussed, well, freedom and financial independence, the core themes.
That's actually pretty useful, like getting the audio cliff notes for a video. How do you think it's doing that? Transcribing it first.
Must be, right? Transcribe the audio, then use AI to figure out the key points and build a conversation around them. That'd be my guess.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, what else? Was there another source type?
One more, yeah. Just pasting text directly.
Ah, okay. So if you just have raw text notes or something.
Exactly. Or, and this was an interesting suggestion, you could use something like ChatGPT to brainstorm ideas or even generate text about a topic and then paste that into notebooklm.
Ah, using one AI to feed another? Okay.
Yeah. The example is funny. They asked ChatGPT for funny podcast topic ideas, landed on the weirdest excuses for being late.
Okay.
Then they presumably pasted some text related to that into notebooklm.
And got a podcast about weird excuses.
Yep. The snippet was a chat about unbelievable reasons for being late. It shows the flexibility, Start with just an idea, get some text, turn it into audio.
Okay, so it seems quite versatile in terms of inputs. Docs, slides, YouTube links, pasted text. That covers a lot of ground.
It really does. But, creating the audio is one thing. The video then switched gears to something crucial, monetization. How do you actually make money from this stuff?
Right, the practical side. Because generating audio is cool, but people want to know if it can lead to, well, income.
So the video outlines several standard podcasting monetization methods. First up, sponsorships.
The classic model, ads in your show.
Yeah. And they threw out some numbers, like $18 to $50 per $1,000 downloads for a 30-second spot.
Okay, CPM rates, cost per mil.
Exactly.
Okay.
But they stressed, it depends heavily on your niche, your audience engagement, all that.
Sure, those numbers vary wildly. But they gave an example, didn't they, for scale?
They did. Like, if you hit 1 million downloads, which is huge, obviously,
Obviously.
one ad spot could potentially bring in $18,000 to $50,000. And if you run, say, 3 ads per episode,
Then you're potentially looking at $50K to $150K per episode at that scale. Big numbers.
very big. Though getting 1 million downloads is the hard part.
What was the next method?
Listener donations, crowdfunding, think Patreon.
Direct support, where listeners pay you monthly.
Right. They said many podcasters make maybe $500 to $5,000 a month this way. Some top shows, though, way more, like $20,000 plus.
Wow. Did they give a specific example?
Yeah, Chapo Trap House, reportedly making something like $170,000 a month on Patreon.
Whoa. Okay, that's serious community support. Shows the power of a dedicated audience.
It really does. Then they mentioned exclusive deals, Spotify, Apple, the big platform.
Right, but that's usually for the big names, isn't it? People who are already established.
Yeah, definitely positioned as more for established podcasters.
Yeah.
But the examples show the potential ceiling. Joe Rogan's Spotify deal, estimated $100 million.
Yeah, that made headlines.
And Call Her Daddy, also Spotify, $60 million deal mentioned.
So huge potential at the very top end, but probably not the first stop for someone using notebooklm.
Agreed. More realistic, maybe.
Merchandise.
Selling T-shirts, mugs, that kind of thing. Exactly. Income varies a lot, obviously. But the video suggested successful shows could make $10,000 to $50,000 a month from merch.
Okay. Another solid possibility if you build a brand.
Then affiliate marketing.
Putting links in your show notes, recommending products.
Yep. You get a cut if listeners buy through your link.
Yep.
Potential earnings mentioned were like $5,000 to $50,000 a month for top podcasters doing this well.
So quite a range, but another common strategy.
And the last one was ad revenue, but specifically through YouTube.
So putting the podcast audio maybe with just a static image onto YouTube.
Exactly. To tap into the YouTube Partner Program ads.
Makes sense. Leverage another platform. What kind of earnings did they suggest there?
They broke it down by channel size. Small channels, maybe 10K, 50K views a month, might make only $5,000 to $2,000 from a mix of ads, sponsors, affiliate stuff.
Okay, modest start.
Medium channels, 50K, 500K views, could be looking at $2,000 to $10,000 a month from all streams.
Getting more substantial.
And large channels, over 500K views, potentially $10,000 to $50,000 plus per month, mostly ads, sponsorships, and merch.
Right. So scale matters hugely on YouTube, as expected.
Definitely. But there was a really important caveat with all this monetization talk.
Yeah, what was that?
2 things, really. First, if you're using someone else's content, like a YouTube video, you absolutely need to give credit to the original creator. That's crucial.
Good point. Ethical considerations, and probably legal ones, too.
For sure. And second, this isn't some get-rich-quick thing. Building an audience, getting downloads, earning significant money, it takes time, effort, consistency.
Absolutely. No magic wands here. Even with AI helping create the audio, you still need to build something people want to listen to.
Right. The video even suggested a time frame, like 1 to 5 years to potentially reach a big income goal, like $25,000 a month.
Yeah, sets realistic expectations. It's a long game.
So wrapping things up,
Yeah.
what's the big picture here? It feels like notebooklm is this new, pretty accessible tool for turning different kinds of info into audio.
Yeah, it seems to lower the barrier to entry for audio content creation, potentially. Taking docs, slides, videos, text, and making them listenable.
Could definitely, democratize things a bit.
Maybe. And we've seen there are various ways people try to make money, from podcasts, from ads and sponsors, to direct support and merch. The usual suspects.
All possible routes, even if the AI gives you a starting point for the content itself.
Exactly. The AI might help generate the audio, but the success still hinges on building an audience and finding the right monetization fit.
So the final thought, maybe.
Hmm.
How do tools like this change things for you, the listener?
Hmm.
How might AI, like notebooklm, reshape how we all consume information or even create it?
Yeah, does it make learning easier? Does it create more noise? Does it open up new business opportunities or ways to share knowledge?
Lots to think about there. Definitely something to keep an eye on as these AI tools keep evolving.
For sure. Well, thanks for taking this deep dive with us.